Hey folks, welcome back to LeafGreen versus Blue. We're here in Celadon City Gym, ready to take on Erika, Grass-type gym leader. Now, technically, the gym leaders around this stage of the game can be challenged in a variety of orders, but I pretty much always go for Erika first. I think she's the lowest level of all of them, and I've never struggled with her too much. She leads off with Victory Bell. Now, she brings out something you may not be expecting right now, third stage evolutions. This is, I believe, our first instance of third stage evolutions, so stat-wise, they may be higher than what you're used to. Victory Bell, for example, has a balance between attack and special attack, 100 base stat on each of those, which means you really only have to worry about type and power when defending yourself, not really worrying about their attack stats. Defensively, his special is 100, or rather I should say her, this is the female Victory Bell. Her special is 100 in first gen versus 65 base defense, so it's weaker to physical moves. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, it's 60 special defense versus 65 defense, so do whatever you like. So, you may have noticed over on Katrina, one of the things that Victory Bell has on its disposal, and you're using it against Drew too, is status ailments, Stun Spore, and Poison Powder. Plus, it has Giga Drain. Now, Giga Drain actually isn't as bad as it is in later generations, or rather, it isn't as good, and therefore it isn't as bad for me. It's only 60 base power and 5 PP. It gets stronger in later generations. It's weirdly underpowered here. In Red, Blue, and Yellow, it's actually a little more annoying. It has Sleep Powder in Red, Blue, Yellow, which is really annoying compared to something like Stun Spore or Poison Powder. It has Razor Leaf, which has wacko critical hit ratio in first gen, and it has a Wrap, which prevents you from moving entirely. So it can really immobilize you and or one-hit KO you if you're not careful in first gen. Luckily, that didn't happen. Drew is pretty good at taking hits. Next up, we have Tangela. Now, don't get me wrong, I love me some Tangela, but this thing is not a threat to you. Offensively, its attack stats are just negligible. Its main thing is that it has pretty beefy defenses. It's 115 defense, 100 special defense, so you're probably not going to one-shot it, even with the super effective move, unless you're using something like, I don't know, Flamethrower, or you get a critical hit. In terms of offenses, it's got Bind in first gen, and that's about it. Its other direct offensive move in first gen is Constrict, which has 10 base power. 10. Has a chance of slowing you down, but 10. It's measly. Fire Red and Leaf Green has Giga Drain, like Victory Bell, but again, it's kind of the wimpy Giga Drain, unlike later generations. So really, the issue with Tangela is going to be kind of whittling it down, especially in third gen, because it has Ingrain, which means it might be able to restore HP. You should be strong enough to outdo Ingrain, though. It's not that annoying. And then finally we have Vileplume, another third stage evolution. And again, lots of status ailments. Stun Spore, Sleep Powder in third gen, Poison Powder in first gen. Now the one thing is that it's actually offensively gotten kind of weaker in third gen. Because in first gen it had Petal Dance, which is a pretty good move. It's basically a grass type thrash. You know, it locks you into the move for a couple turns, but it is very strong. In third gen, no such luck. That was dropped. It's got Acid and Giga Drain, so Not great. Anyway, worth pointing out, Ducks just got Sword Stance. Freaking amazing. Just you wait. I'm so excited to show you how amazing that is. Vileplume, like Victory Bell, is Grass Poison, so if you have some Psychic types like Drew, then you should be able to hit it pretty hard. It's got pretty decent defenses, 100 base special in 1st gen, 90 special defense in 3rd gen, so just hit it with what you got. So it's a really, actually just very well-rounded Pokemon. So look at the type chart, make some reasonable decisions, hit it with your best shot, you'll be fine. Again, if you're having trouble just levels-wise, you can see I'm about on par with her levels. You can leave. You can do Cycling Road and Fuchsia City. But you can get a lot of levels if you're struggling here. You shouldn't be. You could do the Rocket Hideout. There's plenty you can do. Anyway, that takes care of Erika. She will give you the TM for Mega Drain in 1st gen and Giga Drain in 3rd gen. Not great, but not bad, especially if you're hurting for a grass move. But wait, there's more. We have another boss that we're going to fight today, and his trainer title actually says boss, so I mean, you can't really argue with that. You kind of have to accept it. It's Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, our first match with him, and he's like 2/3 a pushover, which is unfortunate because he's really cool, but he's not going to threaten you with most of the things that he has today. Leads with an Onix. We've seen Onix before, and we are better equipped than ever to face him. He has 160 defense, base defense, and 45 base special defense. 30 in red, blue, and yellow. I wonder what you should use against this guy. He's quadruple weak to grass and water. I wonder what you should use against this guy. Same story with Rhyhorn, pretty much. But at least Onix was fast. Rhyhorn is straight up slower than a Metapod. He is slower than a cocoon that is literally immobile. If you lose to either Onix or Rhyhorn, you've got to mess with your team a little bit. So the actually interesting member of his team is the one that I always kind of thought of as iconic, is Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan is a straight up normal type Pokemon, and it has a variety of moves. Some of them are dangerous, some of them are not. In red, blue, and yellow, it has Fake Out, so it can get a free attack in on you that first turn. And it has Mega Punch, which is a pretty strong normal type move. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it in this series or elsewhere. It's pretty good. Causes a lot of damage. It also has Bite, so in case you couldn't have brought a Ghastly, so that's not going to trick you or anything. But if you somehow have a Ghost type and are trying to use that against him, he'll have something in store to counter that. Bite, although it's interesting, he has Bite in both versions, but it's Dark in 3rd gen, normal in 1st gen, which means it's actually special in 3rd gen. And that runs off the 40 base special attack. Not nearly as good as his physical attack. Now, in 1st gen, his moveset is not nearly as diverse. He has Comet Punch, which is a standard multi-hit move. He's got Bite, which is a very standard normal type move in this generation. And he has Rage, which, again, I believe I have discussed at length elsewhere in this series. Locks you in, builds damage as you get hurt. So, Paralysis, actually a great thing to inflict on him if he's going to use Rage, because that means you can interrupt his rage building, so to speak. Overall, Kangaskhan, if something's going to give you trouble in this fight, it's going to be Kangaskhan. Bring a fighting type and you'll probably be fine. I didn't have one, but I was fine. Especially since the rest of his team is a freaking joke. Anyway, for defeating him, we get the Sylph Scope, which lets us go check out the rest of Pokemon Tower. And that wraps up this episode. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.